What do you do when AI learns everything you know and no longer needs you? Meta answered that question this week. 8,000 people got the answers first, and that was just one of the 8 stories that changed everything this week. Hello, I am Mahesh Devalla, Chief Technology Officer, author, and strategic advisor to companies on AI across US, Europe, and India. You are watching AI Edge with Mahesh Devalla, where every week we turn AI chaos into clarity. 8 stories this week: Meta, NVIDIA, OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, and more. I'll tell you what happened, I'll tell you what it means, and I'll give you my take. Because that's what you're here for. Let's start with the story that made everyone stop scrolling. Leaked audio of Mark Zuckerberg surfaced this week, and in it, he confirms something that stopped people mid scroll. Meta has been training its AI on its own employees' work. Their writing, their decisions, their institutional knowledge captured, labeled, and fed into a model, or AI systems, I would say. Days later, Meta announced 8,000 layoffs. Now, before you call that a coincidence, let me give you a framework. Think of it this way: you hire a new employee, for 2 years, you let them sit next to every expert in your company. They shadow the sales team, they watch the engineers, they document every shortcut that took a decade to learn. And then you hand these notes to an AI and you show the experts the door that is not intended to. That is the sequence. Intentional or not, that is exactly what happened at Meta. But here is why this goes beyond Meta. Every large company in the world is doing some version of this. They are collecting internal data, emails, documents, workflows, decisions, and feeding into AI systems. Most of them haven't announced layoffs yet. The keyword is yet. And Meta is not alone. Intuit, the company behind TurboTax and QuickBooks, also announced 3,000 job cuts explicitly tied to AI. The expected savings? $500 million per year. Here is the pattern: AI goes in, headcount comes out. The money that paid those salaries is now being redirected to AI infrastructure. The beneficiaries? Companies like Anthropic, which powers several QuickBook workflows through Claude. Which brings us to the bigger question: is this the natural order of technology, or is it something else? Or a quiet restructuring of the workforce that no press release is honest enough to call by its name? Here is my take: every technology wave displaces jobs. The Industrial Revolution did it, the internet did it, but those transitions happened over decades. But this one is happening in quarters, and the companies doing it are the same ones writing the checks to government to shape the regulations of what they are doing. Meta just made the quiet part loud. The rest will follow. Now, 11,000 jobs gone between Meta and Intuit alone. The question you should be asking is, where is all that money going? Is it going to one place? On May 20th, NVIDIA reported its 2026 earnings. Revenue of $81.6 billion, up by 85% from a year ago. Net profit of $58.3 billion, just in one quarter. For context, $85 billion in profit in 3 months is more than most countries generate in an entire year of economic output. That's NVIDIA for you. NVIDIA's data center business, the division that sells chips to AI labs, generated $75.2 billion in revenue. That's 90% of what NVIDIA made. CEO Jensen Huang called it, and I'll quote him directly, the largest infrastructure expansion in human history. Here is the wit in all of this. NVIDIA stock fell 2% down after the announcement. $85 billion in profit, and still the stock goes down. Because Wall Street expected more. That tells you everything about the expectation this industry is now carrying. Now, 11,000 jobs replaced by AI this week, NVIDIA making $58 billion supplying the chips that power it. But here is the question nobody is asking yet. If AI can replace workers, can it also replace the products we built so far? Google had that question, and this week they answered it. Google held its annual I/O Developer Conference this week, and in it, they said something they have never said before. The era of 10 blue links is over. Google Search, the product that made Google a $1 trillion company, the thing every one of us does 30 times a day is being rebuilt from scratch. Not updated, not upgraded, but replaced by a conversational AI that answers you directly. No links, no 10 options through sort through. Very strange world if you ask the same question 10 years ago. To put this question in perspective, it is the same as McDonald's replacing its burger. That is the scale of what Google just said about its own product. And then they launched Spark, a 24/7 AI agent that works without being questioned. Think of it like a personal assistant who does not wait for your call. They have already replied to your emails, booked your dinner reservations, and ordered your groceries. Available next week for Google AI Ultra subscribers at $100 a month. Don't take me wrong, I am not promoting Google by any chance. One more thing, OpenAI's Google biggest rival is now using Google's SynthID watermarking standard. Two competitors, one common standard. In any other industry, this is a front page news. But in AI world, this week, this was just a footnote. This tells you everything about the pace of the AI world right now. So Google rebuilt its flagship product from scratch because AI made the old version obsolete. Which raises the next question. If AI is now smart enough to do things that even the most smartest humans couldn't? This week we got a very clear answer. On May 20th, 2026, OpenAI announced that one of its general purpose reasoning model has disproved a famous geometric conjecture. First posed by Hungarian mathematician Paul Erdos in 1946. 80 years. The best mathematicians on the planet could not crack it. OpenAI fed it to an AI model, a general purpose not built for this problem, and it solved it. Now, I need to give you the important context here. This is not OpenAI's first claim. 7 months ago, a former OpenAI VP posted on X. Let me quote that for you. GPT-5 solved 10 Erdos problems. It turned out GPT-5 had found solutions that already existed in the literature. The post was deleted, but the embarrassment was not. So when OpenAI made this claim this week, the world leaned in, one eyebrow raised. But this time, the proof was verified by Timothy Govers of Cambridge, by Noga Allen, and by Melanie Wood, by the very mathematician who had called OpenAI's previous claim a dramatic misrepresentation. He signed off on this one. Here is what this means beyond the mathematics. The model was not trained to solve this problem. It received the question and produced hundreds of pages of original reasoning, connecting ideas across the field that researchers hadn't previously linked. Very great fact indeed. Scientific Americans described the proof as clever and elegant, the kind of result that would merit publication in a top journal if a human had done it. Here is my take. When AI can do the original mathematics, not retrieve answers, not pattern match, but think through something that humans gave up on, the conversation about whether AI can and cannot do has just shifted permanently. Now let's talk about the money. Because while all of that was happening, the AI industry was also quietly rewriting its own financial history. This week, Anthropic shared projections with investors. Revenue for Q2 2026 is $10.9 billion, up by 130% from Q1, and for the first time in the company's history, an operating profit. Last summer, Anthropic said profitability was unlikely before 2028. It is May 2026 now. They missed their own pessimism by 2 years. But here is the number that nobody was looking for, and it didn't come from Anthropic. It came from SpaceX IPO filing. Buried in the fine print in one line, Anthropic is paying SpaceX $1.25 billion every month for GPUs compute through May 2029. $1.25 billion per month just to keep the servers running. That is $45 billion in total compute cost before even a single line of code is written in Claude. And they are still profitable. Here is my take. When a company can spend that much on infrastructure and still turn a profit, you're not looking at the startup anymore. you are looking at the early shape of a new kind of empire. Now let's flip to the other side of the ring. Anthropic is profitable and accelerating. So what is OpenAI doing? It is going to Wall Street. OpenAI is filing for a stock market debut. Confidential S1 with SEC possibly as early as possible. Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley on the deal. The target date is or probably is September 2026. Valuation up to 1 trillion. Trillion has become so common these days. The largest technology IPO in history. Bigger than Alibaba, bigger than anything Wall Street has ever seen or priced. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Anthropic also heading to market in October 2026. It is generating 43 billion in annualized revenue and approaching profit. OpenAI is at $25 billion with no public profit timeline. Two companies, same window, very different numbers, and both face the same threat. Cheap Chinese AI models now accounting for 60% of all AI usage on OpenRouter. Think of it like a cab aggregator, and 60% of the rides are going to the budget option. The boom is real. Whether the 1 trillion valuation survives budget competition is the open question. Nobody on the Wall Street wants to answer that out loud. Numbers tell one story, people tell another, and this week, one personal move told the story better than any balance sheet. Andre Carpathy, co-founder of OpenAI, former AI head at Tesla, the man whose AI tutorials have been watched by millions, he is joining Anthropic pre-training team. He left OpenAI to start his own company and then left his own company to join Anthropic. That is not a career move, that is a verdict. In football, when your best player crosses the rival, you do not need a press conference to know which team is winning. The move says everything. In AI right now, the best people are going to Anthropic. Watch the team. If the best people are going to Anthropic, the money is going to Anthropic. The growth is obviously going to Anthropic as well. Which makes what one of the Anthropic own co-founders said this week. Last Wednesday at Oxford University, Anthropic co-founder Jack Clark on the stage gave two predictions with same breadth. 1. AI will collaborate on a Nobel Prize winning scientific discovery within 12 months. 2. There is a non-zero probability that AI could kill everyone on the planet. I don't need to tell you what most people picked. Both came from the same person, one of the architects of this technology without any contradiction. That's how the world is now. Okay, now let's step back. The company is replacing workers and the same ones being valued at the 1 trillion. A great company declared its own products obsolete. A man who built OpenAI just joined the competition, and the person predicting a Nobel Prize is also predicting the extinction. 6 companies, 7 days, and a direction that is being impossible to ignore. The AI race is not slowing down for anyone, not for workers, not for governments, not for the companies that they think they have time. That is your week in AI. I am Mahesh Devalla. If this gave you a clarity and insight, please like, share and subscribe, and tell me in the comments which story changed the way you think about what's coming. See you later. Until then, stay curious, stay sharp, and keep thinking ahead.